Alright then. Okay, camera's working. Let's see if Phoenix Wright's still there. So, yep. Looks like I managed to end, start a bit late tonight, so sorry about that. Obviously, what people don't realise about gender confirmation surgery is there's quite a lot of stuff you have to do while you're recovering from it, without going into too many details. Okay, yep, looks like this is working. So hopefully everyone's having a lovely, well, it's sort of latest 5 o'clock, so more sort of late afternoon than evening at the moment. But yep, hopefully everyone's having a nice evening. I have absolutely no idea where I'm up to anymore, so let's see if I can work this out. February the 24th, 3:12 p.m. Wright & Co. Law Offices. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone's heard of these killings but me. Lena wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean? What happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. What did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. Hey, Froy, how's it going? What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So, that means you? Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. I didn't see that one coming. Oh, good, it's going good. I'm still feeling kind of sleepy, but hopefully I'll have woken up in time for D&D. And in the meantime, I can just warm up my voice this way. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year too. Hey Joe, how's it going? There was a terrible thunderstorm that day. Unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage. But before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then... What happened? I know, I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture? I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall.
So you weren't able to testify about that?
No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime.
Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence?
The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lena forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it.
Edgeworth? You brought Edgeworth into this?
Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumours about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. Is the, sound okay, by the way?
So it's true. Even though he may have not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence.
After the case ended, Lana was never the same. Yep, poor Emma indeed. Oh, good. She became cold, like she is today.
She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred?
Is my Phoenix Wright voice okay, by the way? I'm kind of worried it sounds a bit unclear. Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife.
Neil Marshall was stabbed right in the front of this poor girl.
I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms.
Poor Emma, you've been through so much.
Oh, good, this is good, Froy. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that incident. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good.
2 years ago, you must have been 14. That's understandable.
Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies. My Phoenix voice is clear. Doing it right. I see what you did there. And find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any.
I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma.
What is it?
You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right?
That's right. Meowth.
Then why would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor.
Oh, there's no mystery there. That was actually far cooler than what I was talking about. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day.
Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police?
Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office.
But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office?
Because the detective offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator.
Across from the elevator? But Lana was in the chief prosecutor, wasn't she?
No, silly, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. Plot twist. She was the best in the entire force.
What? That's news to me.
After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor.
Lana used to be a detective. I'd better have another talk with her.
Okay, to the detention centre then. February the 24th, detention centre, visitors room. They really need to improve office security. How many people have been murdered or injured there so far? To be fair, we only know about 2 so far. Well, 4 if you count Officer Meekins and Emma. Lena. Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble.
Falsifying evidence? I didn't think you were the type. You see, my boyfriend, he has that killer instinct.
Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But Lena, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks.
Lena. Emma told me about you.
Oh?
About how you were a detective 2 years ago, and how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office.
That's right.
Could you fill me in on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs?
I suppose you have the right to know, Mr. Wright.
A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago.
Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul.
Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15, there was no murder at the police department.
That's right, Joe, the right to know. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me.
I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before.
It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together.
Chief Gant? Gant?
He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant, he was everything I aspire to be. An anime villain. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed.
Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened?
I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office.
Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago.
2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark.
Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right?
Yes, Deputy Chief Grant and I shared the same office and the same investigations.
They even had the same office. Oh my god, they were office mates.
We led a team of the best detectives on the force. They frequently caused enemy lines to shoot out everywhere. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place.
When he tried to murder Emma.
Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me.
Now you tell us.
Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me.
So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana?
It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood.
3 bodies?
Prosecutor
Marshall, the victim, Emma had passed out,
and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems that Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious.
What did you do?
To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her.
Can't blame her, after all her sister must have gone through.
After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest.
Let me get this straight. Unlike me and Edgeworth, you're all involved in the SL9 incident.
That's right. Quite a coincidence.
I don't buy it.
What are you saying?
There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident, just by chance.
But that case was solved 2 years ago.
At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved.
Officer Marshall, yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely.
I guess he wasn't...
Wrong voice? I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Uh-oh. Serious face. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live for the rest of their lives with their memories.
That case might not be over yet. Em was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right?
Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant occupies by himself. The chief's office. Okay, so we've uncovered it. Turns out this entire thing was a conspiracy by Damon Gant just to have his own office. That's right, Joe. Let's get this gay. Here I am.
Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder.
Attorneys and prosecutors have no business showing evidence outside court. It's taboo, especially when the interests of both parties are involved.
She really means it.
Isamir, does Lana have a Trans Pride medal on her chest? Lana? I mean, like the one just to the furthest to the middle. I'm not crazy, am I? And yes, you're right, Joe. I'm sure it's a very nice office indeed. Okay, where next? February the 24th, Prosecutor's Office, Underground Parking Lot.
No one's here today, not even Miss Starr.
Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are.
But we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m.
Oh good, I'm not going crazy, Joe.
And specifically 5:15 p.m. There were murders scheduled at 6 a.m., 7 p.m.
Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway on our case.
But instead it looks like we just ended up making Lena look even more guilty.
Hang in there, Lena.
I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow.
Okay, let's go see if Edgeworth is in. February the 24th, High Prosecutor's Office, room 1202. Mr. Edgeworth isn't here.
Maybe he's being questioned by an inquiry committee. He took a real beating in court today.
Yeah, with Lena admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago.
I guess we'll have to come back later.
February the 24th, Police Department entrance. Oh, hey, it's that guy.
Howdy, Bambina.
Oh, Mr. Marshall.
I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Q Sarah. You never know what life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning.
Billy?
Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner.
But Mr. Marshall, why'd you do it?
Why the prospectors head west. If ever there was a case I need to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a state lunch today. Someone was fishing from that trail from the beginning. It wasn't me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean, fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised.
A question?
The blade of the knife was not a perfect match for the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there's a good chance that the knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us.
The scars that the SL9 incident left behind.
I got the looks, but you got the brains. He is one of the best prosecutors around. I just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together.
How old was he? Your brother.
He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the King of Prosecutors? I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor.
Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as...
That's right. It was the day of the evidence transferal.
Interesting.
It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. Can you hear the thunder? I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. 2020 was one hell of a year. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die.
Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty.
There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room.
What about Detective Goodman?
If they did something to him, too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious.
They? Who are you talking about?
Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Skye. The investigation lead, Damon Gant, and his second-in-command, Lana Skye.
Yep, so once again I'm going to apologise sincerely for my attempt at a Texan accent. But if it's any consolation to any actual Texans out there, it is killing my throat.
There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both their careers.
After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right?
Yeah. Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective.
Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister?
Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out.
Lena's secret. It all started 2 years ago.
So there you have it. That's my story. You enjoy it, partner?
It was certainly enlightening. And why do you sound like you were just about to sell me some cheese?
There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He's just an enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I wouldn't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. Sure hope you don't fail at your exam and become a bitter shell of your former self.
Oh look, it's still there. The blue badge is still writhing around today. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's dancing. Speaking of dancing,
The whole police department's been dancing around like crazy since the other day.
Can I take out his batteries? I just can't help but feel like he's going to do something naughty. Of course he is, he's a cop.
The detectives in there look pretty busy.
Just imagine, right now, behind those doors, a police drama in action.
Somehow the thought fails to excite me. Look, that patrolman is seducing the other guy. He must be a detective. So, I cuff the lout, right? Then you know what he says. What are you, a moron? I'm an undercover agent. Oh man, I hate it when that happens.
I guess he wasn't saluting. He was just listening to how his friend messed up.
They make a good pair.
Okay. Criminal Affairs Department. February the 24th. Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department.
This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted.
That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Yes, of course they are.
Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying what she did, and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media in tomorrow's trial, there's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. Because this is definitely America, don't forget that. I think festive is the word usually used for those.
Sir? We'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Froy, you don't like that thing in the window? Yes, Froy, you're right. The blue battery is truly cursed. Also, hi. Oh wait, no, you've been here the entire time, haven't you? My brain is not awake yet.
Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor.
Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything.
Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. Okay, let's see what we got. Is that a pipe organ? February the 24th, Police Department, Chief's Office. Why is there a pipe organ?
Whoa, where am I?
In the Chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door.
Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it?
Thank you. Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. What? They used to call me Little Miss Batch. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me the notes. Hey Ridley, how's it going? And yes, everyone needs a pipe organ in their office. I could never remember where C was. I repeat my voice, he's here.
Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, righto, have you been swimming lately? No I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. And that was a very transphobic thing to say. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct. And Lena's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence?
If Ganondorf can have one at the top of his tower and play his own theme, then it's valid for you to have one of your own. Yep, you're right, Ridley, you're right. Get Ridley a pipe organ. 2K21.
2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. And just to the left, that was our Warforged. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though.
Gant team picture added to the court record. Well, obviously, every party needs a Warforged in it. And it has to be the player who sort of can't make it to every session, so eventually you just sort of forget they're there. Gant team picture. Photo at the award ceremony of Gant, Lana and Neil. Plot twist. The Warforged did it.
Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. And this annoying girl playing this game deserves to let her vocal cords rest. Cheerio. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together.
Oh. But this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That case has long been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore.
All the same, we'd still like to have a look around.
Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. And then I need to play Ganondorf's theme on my pipe organ.
Looks like we aren't welcome.
It seems that case isn't over with yet after all.
What do you mean?
Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there.
You mean like a clue?
There's got to be a way we can get inside the chief's office.
Okay. Guess we could see if Edgeworth's around yet. Nope. Okay, let's just ask her about this picture. Look at this photograph. Look at this photograph. Attorneys and prosecutors have no business. Okay, it's her default response then. Okay, and a slight change up today. Today's TSAMR has been replaced with Coffee ASMR. Because it's mid-afternoon, I'm still half asleep. That's right, Froy. Coffee ASMR. That's it, Beans. F me up. Oh, that's a very familiar looking vase. Okay, anything to show her? February the 24th, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. Oh, there goes my voice again.
Hey, pal.
Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting?
I'm just taking a breather. My feet hurt.
From sitting so long?
Actually, from serving everyone coffee.
Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop.
Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth?
Edgeworth? No. Why? Do you ask?
He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battles between you two in court.
That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said?
That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood.
Oh, God, my voice. Yikes. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lena Sky's the guilty party here, isn't she?
Regardless, a prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumours going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor has kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now, with this...
Are there really so many people who hate him?
In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies.
Hey Dick, keep up the good work! Okay, that has got to be the best gag in the game so far.
Yes, sir.
Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat.
Yes, sir.
You gotta take me back to that joint sometime. K-Dick?
Yes, sir.
It seems that you don't have any problems with enemies. Yes, Joe. They're also jealous of Edgeworth's amazing yowie hands.
Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure. I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack.
Okay, I'm gonna have to stop doing Gumshoe's voice because seriously, I'm gonna strain my throat. Really should have done some warm-ups earlier, but there we go. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Stark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean? When he killed Prosecutor Marshall, he was trying to protect some girl. Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realised Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it?
Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay?
His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory.
Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman.
Businessman? What made him take to serial killing?
Well, you know, midlife crisis and all. One day, on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car.
With his car? Say it was an accident?
An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. You see, the radiation from the car gave him animal powers.
Yep, Phoenix's internal snark. An animal?
You killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed a lady that witnessed the crime. A kid walked by this then, so he killed him too. And when he was burying the bodies, a jogger came upon the scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in? Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. The crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Dark was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing the last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, aka Emma.
Okay, show him the murder weapon.
About this. Hey, is that?
It has a tag attached to it with the label SL9 Instant on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of.
What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker.
On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker and was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler.
That's it. Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me.
Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. This knife. It was Joe Dark's, wasn't it?
That's right.
Dark's hair looks like an onion in the flashback. Yeah, it kind of does. I guess he's got layers, like an ogre.
That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at, plus it had his fingerprints on it too.
But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right?
That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken.
You didn't have to take a good look to notice that.
Yeah, well, anyway. Take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found.
In the last place he looked?
That's what did him in.
Where was it?
In the victim. Neil Marshall was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound.
Did it match Dark's knife?
You bet. Down to the last fibre.
That's pretty conclusive. Neil's autopsy report added to the court record. Stabbed in the back. Died from a punctured heart and lung. A knife tip was in the wound. Switchblade knife updated in the court record. The broken tip was found in the victim's body. Belonged to murderer Joe Dark.
Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know.
Can I ask you one more thing? I want to feel like Poirot. I can't pronounce that name anymore.
What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant.
It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief's out now and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around it, if that's okay.
Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door.
What? Really?
But if I let a civilian in there, I'll be charged with breach of trust.
Breach of trust? But you're a police officer. No one trusts you.
Simply put, I'll be canned.
Oh.
Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you.
How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's.
That one won't either. The data was deleted the day he died.
Hey Op, how's it going? Oh.
So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office.
I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. Okay. I'm guessing the only thing that's going to make him change his mind is if, Edgeworth was in trouble. Pay dirt. February the 24th, High Prosecutor's Office. Room 1202.
I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet.
There he is. It looks like he's writing something.
What are you doing here? He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh?
I've had to live the past 2 years with rumours flying around.
What's another allegation to me?
Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you.
That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings.
So what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I can do can erase the fact.
But you didn't know, did you? I mean, the evidence was falsified.
The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error. My responsibility is the prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same, no matter what excuses I might have. Mr. Edgeworth, I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this?
Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? I'll bring pretzels.
First last year's trial and now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. Okay, Sundere. But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial. Tomorrow's the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this.
What do you mean?
The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long.
It's only half as long as most lists. That is odd.
After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part in the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time. Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time.
That picture. Something seems strange about it.
Could you tell us again
about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered? You're participating in a ceremony over at the station, right?
I've never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this? Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning and then drove over to the police department.
You finished up at the office?
Yes, just odds and ends, clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? This. Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yes, it was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office.
That's the story we heard yesterday.
Okay, I just need to quickly go and pee, so I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Turns out there's consequences for drinking coffee all morning. Who knew? So you came back to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to? That's right. Okay, let's show him that photo. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Hey KNSD, how's it going? Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. You do indeed, Liv. How's it going? Wait, did I already say how's it going? Thinking about it, I say how's it going a lot. How is it going? Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Oh, good that it's good. This is probably going to be a kind of a short stream, so maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Yep, every time I meet you. Wait, oh no, I have a catchphrase. I always thought my catchphrase would be something more interesting. Yes? The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding. It's a little different than yours. Yes, you're right. Oh god, is the trophy going to turn out to be the murder weapon all along? Ah, I remember now. Remember what? That was when the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design. A story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story?
Me? Oh, sure. Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though? For Emma's sake.
Very well. Long ago, in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day, he presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armour. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon.
Wait a minute. Those claims contradict each other.
Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless. And thus, the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and broken knife symbolise? Precisely so. They symbolise the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words. But it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this. Wow, thanks Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. Every day's a school day. You learn something new every day. I'm going to patronise you for delivering trivia. Phoenix is indeed a dork. Joe, you're right.
That's funny. If that's so, why are you only given a shield?
You'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. I can't believe he abolished halberds. The very best weapon in medieval warfare, and he just threw it away.
Chief Gant.
King of Prosecutors trophy updated in the court records. 2 years ago, the halberd was removed at Gant's behest, giving it its current form. Okay, can I...
A work desk is quite tidy as one might expect.
What a nice desk. Easy to use and easy on the eyes. It's polished so high I can see my own reflection. Okay, that's new.
I wonder what he was writing before.
Come on, Mr. Wright. Let's take a look.
Are you crazy? Edgeworth's sitting right there.
Just distract him. I'll check it out.
Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective... Is that Detective Gumshoe out of the window there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground.
Hold on. First, let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet.
He didn't even look.
What? Letter of... If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it out for you. It says, Letter of Resignation.
Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean?
I'm tired, right? I feel as if something inside me has died. But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault. I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either.
Uh-oh, I think he's serious.
Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something.
This letter of resignation, I wonder if I can use it for anything.
Letter of resignation put into pocket. Edgeworth discarded letter of resignation. He's serious. Oh God, my throat. Okay, guess if I show that to Gumshoe, he's probably going to let us in the office. February the 24th, Prosecutor's Office, underground parking lot. Excuse me? Oh. Would either of you care for a £1/4 of roast beef?
Miss Starr, I guess she's out of lunches.
You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk.
What?
Okay, shame the Resolker's not here.
I was never breastfed as a child.
Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago.
Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence from the case was due for transferal. This can't all be attributed to mere coincidence.
Aren't you forgetting something? You know that little scene I happened to witness?
The instant Lena stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife.
No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savoured when eaten.
Miss Starr's hatred towards Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago.
Yep, Joe, you indeed. Joe Dark, that's not a name I'll soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a hot bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell.
You mean because of his brother's death?
They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate.
Huh?
Lena Skye. My sister. The best of the best were put on that SL9 case. Of course they were led by that legendary duo. Lena and Chief Gant. You can tell Lena's badass because she doesn't need to stand forward. That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up in our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out.
You mean with the forging of the evidence?
Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret. But you don't have proof anything illegal was done. I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties, most without even as much as an explanation. Then Lena Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lena always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lena Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter.
She was being used?
Damon Gant and Lena Skye. Gant led the investigation with Lena second in command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal.
His magnetism?
By that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the case he handled.
Incredible evidence, you mean?
Oh yes, there were rumours about him even back then. No one dared to confront him, though.
I take it she's talking about forged evidence.
Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked, and always watched out for the other detectives. Here, Mando. To be fair, it sounds kind of like Lena was the cult of personality, and he was just the corrupt guy. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall. When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. Yep, the frontman. He played lead guitar. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would ever have recovered from his shock. That makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? Okay, I think I'm going to have to call this stream in like 15 minutes because my throat is dying on me and I need to recover for D&D.
Lena transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she?
Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief? That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control, and then no one would stand in his way. The prosecutor's office.
What? You mean that's why Lana was transferred?
Oh, thanks, Amanda. If he could control the chief prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude. There must have been a reason for her change.
At last. I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess.
Thank you,
Miss Starr.
You listen to me, Rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create a fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. Okay, let's February the 24th, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department.
Oh, you're back. You're still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ.
You're a DJ as well?
If I'm not mistaken, he means desk jockey.
Oh, that DJ.
I gotta admire your persistency, but my answer's still no. I'm not letting you in the chief's office, period. It'll be my neck on the line. That office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look in there.
There's got to be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Indeed there is, because this must be it.
What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way. Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious.
Is he ever not serious?
I can't believe they pushed him this far.
Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible.
When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice too. Why no different now? He trusted his detectives to provide him with sound evidence, but we betrayed him. We betrayed the law.
What kind of music would DJ Gumshoe play? My guess would be, she is watching the detective. So cute, so cute. Detective.
That's it. I made up my mind.
But
Here, take my ID card.
we can't do that. If someone found out, they wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report.
Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated.
What?
So at least make me do this, for Mr. Edgeworth's sake.
All right, detective. Thank you. Gumshoe's ID tucked swiftly into pocket. A police department ID card allows access to areas for the PD open to detectives. Okay, let's do this. February the 24th, Police Department, Chief's Office. Here goes, Mr. Wright. Beep. We're in. If anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's a goner.
If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Doesn't the ID card have Gumshoe's picture on it? It does, but it's like a swipe thing. So they're not actually checking the it's a machine, basically. Sorry, I thought you were a ghost.
I didn't even know you could slap a ghost.
Detective Gumshoe. What are you doing sneaking up on us like that?
I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came too.
If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card? Gumshoe's ID crushed and rendered unusable in pocket.
Hey, don't do that to my card.
Joe, who wouldn't commit murder for this office? It's a very nice office.
I hardly ever get a chance to come in here, so I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now.
You really do want to get fired, don't you?
Not if we're lucky. Now come on, let's see what we can find out.
I've got a bad feeling about this. That desk on the other side of the room. Was that your sister's? Yes. That's where I was waiting for Lana. On that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now?
No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gant's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene.
That's a strange reason to leave it there.
He leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. He told us so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, it was pretty intoxicated at the time.
I see. So ever since Lena left, no one touches that desk? You'd redecorate it to make it less church-like, but still keep the organ. Yeah, that's fair.
No one except Chief Gant and the cleaning lady who's in it here each morning.
Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SL9 crime scenes. I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it?
Why'd you ask?
You don't think? Nah, you wouldn't be. No. No, there's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it.
Gant belongs on a submarine under the sea with that organ.
Okay, now let's look around a bit more. Hey, hold on. Not so fast, buddy. Huh? What is it? When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to start bothering you, pal. You don't just let it go at that. Sorry. This guy's starting to get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you? You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you?
What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Like, he's clearly an anime villain, and we're an anime.
Chief Gant, so it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best if I don't divulge my feelings yet. There you go, ignoring me again.
Okay, let's take a look around then.
This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons? Sure is, pal. The chief doesn't care for imitations. First the pipe organ, now this armor. Do you know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room?
What? You mean we're paying for this? That's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes. Aren't you a bit young to be paying taxes?
You don't have any taxes to pay. Shh, be careful what you say. Who knows? The chief may be hiding in this armor as we speak. I don't think he'd fit in.
I don't think he'd fit in there. Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out.
Get out. You don't know how scary that guy can be. This is a safe, isn't it? Safe. That word is ripe with intrigue. Okay, if you say so.
It looks like a code needs to be entered in this panel to open it.
A 7-digit number. I think I just might know what it is. Do you know what it is?
I have a hunch.
Oh, I know. You want to try my birth date? It's...
I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. Yep, because of course he made it his ID card number. Because that's very secure. Exactly what you think the chief of police to use.
Bingo.
What number did you enter?
Whose birthday was that, pal?
77777777. The final ID card number on that record. What?
The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. You mean 77777777, the ID number?
I think you're 1 7 shy this time. This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number. Yep, it is indeed, Froy. Say, anyone care to take a look inside?
Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away?
Look, it's
a shard from a broken cup.
This somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen this before? There's something else in here too.
What's it? What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth.
This is a handprint, isn't it?
Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think the chief made up the design?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, it was just a thought.
Is that it? Is that all that was in the safe?
Apparently so. It's empty now. A piece of cloth with a handprint on it. And a broken shard from a cup. They look like pieces of evidence. Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid I can't just let you just take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here.
Great. Now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. How are those two items related to the SL9 incident? Come on, there's got to be something we can show the detective. Indeed, there must be. Okay, I don't know about the handprint, but... Detective Gumshoe, could you have another look at this jar?
I remember when the three of us put that back together. Those were the days.
It's kind of early to be nostalgic. Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case?
That's right. One of the shards has an SL9 instance sticker on it.
Doesn't this ring any bells? You know, that fragment we just found.
You mean this one? That was in the safe.
Yeah, that one. That was in the safe.
Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells.
Yeah, we always get to steal things, but, you know, there's a detective right here, and he's actually doing his job for once.
Let's see if it fits.
Here, let me see that shard. I'll take a crack at this.
Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie can do.
Mr. Wright, here's some glue.
If I can piece this together...
Wait, if I can piece this together again, it'll prove the Chief Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. Victory. Yep, I'm doing case 5. And hey Slash Dev, how's it going? It's fine, I'm just finishing this section, then I'm going to get something to eat for D&D because my voice is starting to die on me. There, it fits like a charm. That of course means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of evidence, a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. Spent some time hiding out with local dorks. Always good. But...
Hey guys, get a load of this.
What is it?
This piece you just attached. It's different from the others.
There's a reddish line on it. A reddish line? That's blood.
I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe?
Unstable jar updated in the court record. Evidence from the SL9 incident. Final fragment found in Chief Gant's safe. Blood traces. Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to have a look at this.
Hey, I know what that is. So you want to take some fingerprints?
That's a great idea, Detective.
Right, go to town. Sheesh.
What are you doing? Why are you sticking your hand out like that?
Go ahead, take my fingerprints, punk.
It's not your fingerprints we want to take.
Huh?
Come on, this isn't the time for jokes. We're talking about that cloth we found in the safe.
Oh, I knew that. The one with the handprint on it, right? Sheesh, where's your sense of humour?
Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check for prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth. Then, once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away.
Why are you my mum? I don't have to be told 1,000,000 times. Alright, let's get this over with.
Because the S's features transfer over so well to computer.
I gave it my best shot.
That kind of result won't be any good for matching prints, will it?
It doesn't look like we'll get a clear result from this print.
Okay, let's try a different finger then. Yeah, it's kind of sad, isn't it, Skylar? Also, hi, how's it going?
I gave it my best shot.
Okay. Come on, I need to finish this session so I can get something to eat and give my voice a rest. Yes. Uh-oh. Oh yeah, you're going to have to miss D&D later, aren't you, Skylar? I think.
No, how can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here?
Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints were they?
Huh? Oh, it seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match.
Oh yeah. Oh well. Guess I'll see you then next week, Skylar. Joe, you remember what rage quitting this because you couldn't make the fingerprint thing work on your computer? Yeah, it's kind of annoying to play that part actually.
They aren't clear enough to get a match.
Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints.
Psst. Hey you, over here. What's going on here? What that kid's print's doing on the inside the chief's safe?
Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now.
Yeah, maybe you should hold on to this.
Piece of cloth folded and added to court records. Found in Chief Gant's safe, evidence for something, but what? Bears Emma Scar's prints. Oh, yep, cool to have you in chat. I mean, to be fair, that's what I was doing when I was in hospital, so can't criticise for it. Okay, guess we're not done in the office yet.
These shelves are mostly empty. Lana must have cleaned them out when she transferred over to the prosecutor's office. There's a small picture frame on the left shelf.
Hey, this is where Lana and I went to that theme park. Oh. This was taken on that day 2 years ago.
The day Joe Dark ran out of the questioning room and tried to kill Emma. After receiving his award trophy, Mr. Marshall took a picture here.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame they didn't keep the mechanics for the other games. There were, I suppose, to be fair, a lot of the later games were just straight up ports of the Game Boy Advance games. So, oh right, yeah, they did do the add the mechanics for the Apollo Justice series.
Then went along with the Chief Gant, questioned Dark. I bet he never knew he'd be dead just a few hours later. Gee, you think? This was Lana's desk. It sure is tidy.
Lana's always been a meticulous cleaner.
There's not even any dust on it. It looks like someone's still keeping it clean. Does Lana ever come back here? No. Chief Gant must still keep it clean in memory of their partnership. They were the stuff legends are made of.
Does he keep it in memory of her, in memory of the crime? Okay, I'm gonna have to call it here because my voice is dying and I need to get something to eat before D&D. Okay, so, okay, how long have I had this light shining on my face? Okay, so at 7:30 I'll be over on his Cursedness's channel. Playing D&D, so feel free to drop by for that. Oh, well, technically it's orange. And thanks. I'd say it's because of it's for my D&D character, but it's kind of close to what I'd want to wear anyway, so. And you're quite welcome. I'll just find someone to raid and then I'll go get something to eat. So I think I've mentioned starting next week I'm going to change my schedule slightly because basically I'm going to be doing an online programming course. So that's going to take up my time from 4 till 6 o'clock. I might sort of basically start streaming at 6 and then immediately go raid his Cursedness. But I'm not really sure how feasible that is. And in any case, I think Nick's actually gonna we're going to be going on hiatus soon anyway. But anyway, who shall I raid? Yeah, B-Boy Gage is live, so I'll give him a raid. So, yep, I'll be, obviously I'll be on Nick's channel with D&D later this evening at 7:30, which is, well, it's only like 45 minutes away. And I'll be back with more Metroid on Monday, so, yep, I hope to see you all for that. Okay, so yeah, normally I have more to say, but I guess that's about it. Alright, I might start I might put down the Tomb Raider reboot trilogy as something to stream, just so I've got an excuse to get that Lara Croft cosplay going. So, yeah, that's something to look forward to. But that's about it. See you later on D&D. Have a good evening, and raiding in 3, 2, 1, and see ya.